Yeah, get a little bit of gasoline. Yeah, I'm gonna set your place on fire. Let's get higher. Yeah, I'm gonna set your place on fire. Let's get higher. Get a little bit of gasoline. Welcome to another water city. I'ma make it burn.
Are reportedly asking NASCAR for $16 to $18 million in league revenue per car, which is double the amount they are getting now.
Okay,
Brett,
guys,
spot on,
so
spot
on
on.
a
It's
lower
actually more
level,
than
that's
double.
where
I
we're
think
at
the
in
lowest
short
paid
track racing.
lowest paid team gets $4 million.
Pay attention to what they're
with this new
saying
charter
here.
system, approximately $4 million. So here's my problem. The team's revenue share only exists of sharing the TV money. They don't get to share the money from parking. They don't get to share the money from concessions. They don't get to share the money from tickets. They don't get to share the money from all the other revenue
only
streams
share that
these
we get on a
racetracks and
local
our
short
lovely
track
sport
is
has.
from our sponsors.
That's not fair. They should get
Payout
a piece of
is
the whole
definitely
pie, not just a
nothing.
piece of
It
one
doesn't
piece
get
of
us
the
to
pie
the track.
in my
It
mind.
doesn't buy
But
tires.
when I look at this
Doesn't buy
thing and I
fuel.
say Hendrick Motorsports and Rick Ware Racing, if we give Rick Ware Racing $16 million, what's he going to do with it? Is he going to
put it in the bank?
I'm going to say he's going to put it in the bank.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this out loud. I think there are multiple teams that raced in that race yesterday that should have their charter taken from them. Now, they should be compensated for it. Something.
So we don't
not
deal
a
in
lot,
charters.
because they don't put a lot into it.
But what
if
we
you're going to
deal
go
with
out
is
there and
performance
you're going to be
based
over a second off at every
based
racetrack we
on
go to this year,
our ability
you shouldn't
to
be
get sponsors
talking
and
about
funding
sharing
to
$16, $18 million
fund our
of your piece of the pie.
next
because you're
year's
not
series.
contributing to making the sport better. And if you're not going to contribute to making it faster, your team faster and competitive, if you're not competitive, you shouldn't be out there.
Brett, going back to what you just said about the lowest team making that much amount of money, why is it different per team as far as how many drivers they have, how many teams they have?
No, it's based on
the
how
local
they
series,
perform, right?
This is
so
basically
if
a
you go out
reaction
there and you win the
video to Dirty
championship
Mo.
and you do X, Y,
Hopefully I
Z,
don't
your
get
charter is
copyright,
now
but
worth more money,
anyway,
and it gets you more
for the
money
last 2
from
years,
the
we've
NASCAR
taken the
piece, right? So if
championship
you go out
with
there and you
minimal
run
amount
dead
of
last every
sponsorship
single
money.
week before the charter system was in place, you could do a start and park before that was made illegal, and you could make $2.7 million a year if you ran dead last. Well, when the charter system came into effect,
So now when
they
he talks
increased
about
that number.
start and park,
No more start and parking. You got to
let
race.
me
You got to
pause this
show
for
up
a
for it.
minute. So when he talks about start and park, he's talking about lining up, collecting your fee for the night, and not actually racing. You could do a minimum of laps and still gain the same amount of money as if you won. So at Magic previously, it's been, I think it was $80 whether you win or finish last. So the guy that's out there going for a championship and putting money into his car and put money into his tires and his program to do well and compete and take a track championship, he's dumping several more thousands of dollars into his program per year than the guy that's just out there to have fun, run laps, basically start and park. Okay, so with that said, if you're going to do that and everybody's getting paid the same, there's no incentive for the guys to work on their car. And that's what you've seen over the past 2 years on my channel with taking the championship. There's only a limited amount of people that actually spend the time to make their car fast and create the show for the local short track. So therefore, you got a mediocre show, 2 guys run out front, the rest hang behind, you don't put fans in the stands, the track don't make money. Sponsors for the previous year, you think you took the championship, 2 years in a row, sponsors should be wanting to get on that car. But if there's no fans in the stands, they're not interested in getting onto your car. They don't see any monetary value for helping your program. Therefore, that's something that we're up against for 2023. Now, we'll continue the video, and you guys listen close. I'm going to ask for your comments in the comment section, and we'll go from here. Like I said, I'm using this video as illustration because what they're talking about is very real, and it's basically a reaction, so I don't want to get copyrighted by it, so I'm going to keep stopping it here and there and adding my comments.
Every event. That's why BJ McLeod was out there yesterday. Guy got lapped in the first 5 laps of the heat race, it seemed like. But they then upped the money, Casey, to where they got over $4 million as part of revenue share. So when these teams are talking about wanting more money. I'm all for it, but I am not for having teams out there that are not competitive getting the same amount of money that a Rick Hendrick or a 2311 or a Colleague Racing. I mean, Matt Colleague is spending a ton of money right now. He wants to be competitive. He wants to win races. He came in. This team's only 2 years old. This is their second full-time year in Cup Series. They're doing the things that make me say, yeah, they deserve $16 million, because it really ain't that much money when we talk about how many billions of dollars this sport is worth and brings in revenue. So I think it's important for people to realize this is still a sponsorship-based sport. If you don't have good sponsors, you don't have money unless you are a billionaire. And we've gotten rid of all.
Exactly what I'm saying about the sponsors, okay, guys? You got these starting part guys that are making the same money as the guy that's running for a championship. Now, with taking the championship the last 2 years, you wouldn't think I'd have sponsorship trouble going into 2023, but already I've sent out notifications to sponsors, and I've already lost $1,000 for 2023. We have a unique opportunity with Meridian Speedway buying the track, so we have a chance to run both tracks. Magic Valley Speedway, which I normally run my weekly series championship. I've taken it the last 2 years in a row, but we also have the opportunity to go to Meridian Speedway and collect both track championships. Now, keep in mind, Meridian does have fast guys, and there are guys there that work on their car, and they want to take the championship. So we're going to have a battle on us, and we need all the sponsorship money we can get to make that trip to Meridian, as well as doing Magic. And we're already losing money this year in sponsorship. I've already lost, like I said, $1,000 sponsorship that told me last year that he was coming on board for another $1,000 this year. I've sent out notifications to other sponsors. I haven't heard back from them. I don't know whether they're in or not. One of my sponsors already contacted me and said he's definitely in for 2023. But like I said, it takes money to buy tires. We're at like 200 and something bucks a tire now. We're at $5 a gallon fuel for the diesel. I mean, if we're going to go to Meridian, we need the sponsor money to come in, and we need some kind of payout that's comparable to be able to go travel the car 200 miles to go race Meridian one way and 200 miles back, as well as 100 miles. It's actually more than 200 to Meridian. It's 100 from my house to Magic and back. Not alone going to Meridian, which is like a 200-mile trip there and back. Plus, we got lodging because we can't just show up and race and drive back at 3 in the morning. That's not what we want to do. We want to be able to lodge up and come back on Sunday. So just keep that in mind. That's kind of the state of where the economy's at right now, and we're trying to logistically put things together for 2023. It's not looking very promising. So let's finish listening to a little bit of this video, and we'll stop it here in a minute again.
All the old school guys. Bill Davis Racing, he's gone. Robert Yates Racing, he's gone. Richard Petty, he's gone. This is now the billionaire club. Yeah. And we've got some people that are hanging on. I guarantee you, Tommy Baldwin wakes up every day kicking himself in the ass going, damn, I should not have sold my race team when I did. I should have hung on to it, because they're talking about things like this happening. And if you're competitive, I'm all for you getting money. But if you suck, I'm not.
Yeah. Hey, the biggest thing.
100% agreed. If you suck and you're not putting the time into your car to add to the show that's putting fans in the stands, I'm not for you getting the payout, okay? If you're going to put the time into your car and you're going to run up front and you're going to go for championships, I think you should be getting a bigger payout. The local promoters should be recognizing that. I'm all for top 4 payout, top 3 payout. If you're not in the top 3 or top 4, you shouldn't be getting a payout. I mean, work on your shit, or excuse my language, work on your stuff and get your car where it needs to be and come race us. I mean, let's go for a championship. So if you're out at Magic and you're top 3, say you finish 3rd, you should be at least getting $250 to $300. I mean, you go back east and race dirt. Those guys, like Skylar Fleming, Fleming Family Racing, them back east, they're making $350 to $400 or $500 a race, and I don't know why over here in Idaho and on the West Coast, yeah, you go down into California, you can make some good money running late models and stuff, but you're spending a lot of money to do that. So I don't understand where the mentality within the promoters was that they love to race so much, we can pay them nothing and they'll still show up. That's got to change, especially in this economy.
With this, the revenue sharing for me is this sport right now is based on money over talent. Like it's as simple as that. Like the money means more than the talent. If you have money, you can get in a car. We see this week with some of the announcements of that Joe Gibbs. We used to call the Joe Gibbs third car an all-star car, and it's not really an all-star car this year. And I don't want to bash anybody, but we saw this. Joe Graff is going to run 5 races. He didn't qualify in a RCR car somewhere. I forget where it was. One of the mile and a halves. That's just the guy. They're taking money over talent. That Trevor Bayne did an unbelievable job in that car last year. Should have won some races. Where's he at? Why? You're hearing that Joe Graff's driving it. Connor Mosack, I think, is going to drive it.
Okay, so they're talking about taking money over talent. So if you got a lot of money to come into the sport, you're going to do well. Okay, no matter if you're finishing last or not. I hate to even bring this name up, but you look at Haley Deegan. Okay, she's got a huge following on social media. She really doesn't do that great in the car. I support her 100%, and I love what she does, and I hope for her to win all the time. But the fact of the matter is she has a huge following, so therefore you have money coming in. You've got major social media support, so therefore she's going to keep getting put into a car, whether or not she wins or not. The whole Danica Patrick, GoDaddy, we went through all that with her. I mean, you take guys like me that are on a local level and we go out and we win multiple championships, and the Josh Phanopoulos from Meridian, the Jesse James Lawson from Meridian, the 51 Camaro, fast guys, okay? But the thing that we deal with here in my small town, this is Rupert, Idaho. There's not much room for sponsorship, promotion in this small town. So it's really tough to get sponsorship. Honestly, if I calculated up what I had in sponsorship the last 2 years, we got Skylar Fleming Family Racing. They do monetary value in heat race is like $25 to win the heat race and $50 to win the main. But the thing of it is, with Fleming Family Racing, we're partnered up. So everything they send me, I put back out into promotion to promoting FFR as well as S.W.E Racing. So I'm really not seeing a gain. I appreciate everything they do, and I'm not down on them in any way. Don't take me wrong. What I'm saying is I put back in as much as I receive from them. So as monetary value on the track, I really don't see value out of that other than promoting them and helping them and growing both of our channels. And that's my deal with them, and that's my own personal beliefs and what I want to do with what they contribute to S.W.E Racing is I want to help them grow and bless them with what they're trying to bless me with. And in fact, Greg has even told Skyler, why you send him money, he just sends it back to you. And that's the way we work. We're trying to grow each other. We're brothers in Christ, and we're making sure that both channels grow. And they're far outgrowing mine, which that's fine. My channel isn't for that. And this is going to run into a long video, but I haven't put one out in a while. So I want to touch bases with you guys on what we're dealing with at S.W.E Racing. Scal's Car Quest, they put in probably, I'm just going to say the monetary value of what I receive without pinpointing each one out. Okay. So you're looking at probably max $1,500 a year that I receive in sponsorship. If that. I'm saying more like probably 12 to 13. I lost one for $1,000 already this year that through family issues and medical bills, he's not going to be able to come back on board for 2023. That was $1,000 hit right there. So unless something breaks, what I'm telling you guys is unless something comes through, and I'm working the logistical side of it, trying to get sponsors to make 2023 happen so that we can run for both track championship as well as state and national. But it's not looking good. We may end up just bagging the whole street stock, the pro late, the modified, and just have Buck on the channel and let her run in her bomber, and we'll have video footage of that, and hopefully you guys will be okay with that. Like I said, if something breaks and we're able to accomplish what we want, then we'll move forward, but we have to have the funding, and it's just the only way it works with the economy today.
4 or 5 times. Like, where's Trevor Bayne? Where's the guys that were competitive in that car last year? So I think if you get the revenue up, or it seems you can see that shift back towards talent over money. They don't need the sponsorship dollars, or they don't need daddy's money to put this guy in there. They can go back. And we saw yesterday, Ryan Preece goes out there, gets his shot back in a very competitive ride, and might have won the race if he doesn't have a fuel pump issue. He drives back to the lead. He's probably the best car on the racetrack, and then he had an issue. So, that's a guy that kind of clawed his way back up there. Now he's got a little bit of money behind him, got in the 41 car, and almost made the most of his opportunity right off the bat. So, I'd love to see a place. I know I come from short track racing. I go to short track racing all off season. I go on off weeks, whatever. I know these guys, and there's talent out there, but they don't have, guys have asked me, hey, I can get in this car one time and run a truck race at Loudon. What do you think? And I'm like, unless you got a couple million behind that, like, it doesn't matter if you go out there and win that race. Nobody's going to hire you.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly what I just told you. Unless you've got that money coming in, ain't nobody looking at you. I mean, they're just not. They can't put you out in a ride. I fund my own rides. I build my own rides. I basically, I predict my own success off what I have within. I'm not heavily sponsored to where I'm just getting in the car and showing up like Tony Stewart or Jeff Gordon and running somebody else's ride. This is my blood, sweat, and tears going into these cars. And without the funding to help logistically for fuel and entry fees, tires, new safety equipment. This is a new year. We have to update all of our helmets. They have to be updated. So we got all new safety gear. We bought a new race suit last year, so we're good there. You're talking seat belts. Every 3 years, you got to put new seat belts, helmets. It just, the money, it just has to be there in order to do this, guys. And that's what I'm telling you. I'm not looking for sympathy or anything. I'm explaining to my subscribers that faithfully watch our channel that this may be a turn down for this year and this season, and we're still gonna, like I said, get Buck out there, and if things break where we pick up sponsors to where we can run for both track championships at Magic and Meridian, as well as state and national, I'd love nothing more to do that and introduce into you guys Meridian Speedway and show those guys why we've been the track championship for the last 2 years. But we need sponsorship funding. Maybe with the concept of being able to run Meridian, which is in the Boise area, which is a bigger town, state capital of Idaho, both NASCAR sanctioned. Maybe we can pick up some sponsors over in that area to fund us. Or maybe the promoter that owned Meridian Speedway that bought Magic will make it more worth our while to travel there. I want to show you guys multiple different tracks and show you why we have been the track championship for the last 2 years. I'd hate to have taken the last 2 years and just have to park the stuff for the lack of funding, but it may be a reality that we're facing, and I just want to advise you guys of where we're at. Okay, so this is probably a pretty long video at this point. I'm going to go ahead and give a few more little bits reaction on this video on Dirty Mo video and give them props for what they're talking about. I watch them every time, and I suggest you guys go follow them, and they have a really lot of insider stuff to NASCAR and where it's at and where it's going and what's going on week to week. So let's get a little bit more here, and then we'll end this video there.
It's just unfortunate that's where we're at now. Where I think if the teams get this money, and like Brett said, a lot of it, either they get the money, they're just going to spend it on themselves, which is good. You want the sport to be better, but I think a lot of it too will be, you can get some more talented race car drivers out there that will, raise the profile of the whole sport.
There's more talented race car drivers in America right now than there's ever been.
But I'm asking.
Young kids.
Yeah.
So going
Dale
back
Jarrett
to
started racing at like 20 years old.
Going back to those days when it was talent over money. I mean, is it because the cost of racing is so much higher now, or what's the difference?
Yeah.
I think it's the lack of sponsorship. To be honest with you, when the sponsorship was there, the teams had the money to go hire the guy they wanted. And then when the recession hit us in 2008, some teams never recovered from that. And you have Roger Penske, their cars are sold out. If you wanted to sponsor one of Roger Penske's cars right now, you wouldn't be able to because he has all of the sponsorship.
And there you have it, guys. So that's where we're going to wrap this up. The sponsorship money is just kind of dried up in the sport of racing. I mean, if the businesses around your local area aren't going to come on board and sponsor you, or in a local short track race setting, there's just not much you can do to fund that race cars. And like I said, I've got 3 of my own. I got more than 3, but if I wanted to run the street stock, the pro late, the mod, build more cars that we've got setting, like the project car, we got another modified setting that has come out of pocket. That ain't sponsor money that's purchased those cars. That's out of pocket. So the sponsorship money just funds your year of racing those cars. Having the car is only 1/10 of what it costs you to actually race that car for the year. So my whole point is, if the local community is feeling the crunch and not sponsoring cars and not feeling that they're getting their monetary value out of putting their name on the car, where is the sport going? So I'm going to end it right here. I'm going to say thank you all for watching this video. Send out a bunch of prayers that something breaks through and we get the funding that we need for 2023. And we'll continue the ride, guys. S.W.E Racing out.